All right, so the next 3, 4, 3, 5, 3, 6, 3, 7 all have to do with the parent functions of sine and cosine functions. So today we talk about the parent functions. The goal would be to be so familiar with these that we can start to mess around with them a little bit. We get into what are called sinusoidal functions in the next section, which just means some variation of a sine or cosine curve. But everything is built on the foundation of the parent functions, is what we're going to talk about today. So obviously we're going to learn a lot of vocab between now and the end of the week and how to manipulate these functions, and then it ends with word problems dealing with these functions. But today's like the foundation for it, so that's why it's so important. We start with the sine curve, and we did this in Algebra 2 honors, but we're going to use them, we're going to manipulate them in a little bit different way than we did then. So the sine function is the graph of f of theta in this case, or f of x, equals sine of that angle. And where it comes from is it's the y coordinate of your unit circle. So if I were to pull in my unit circle, and I took all the coordinate points as I move around, and I focus on just the y coordinates, right? Because that's what sine is. Sine is just the y coordinates. If I were to transpose the angle onto the x-axis, which is what's happening here, these are all angle measurements, and then I use the plotted y points as the sine of these angles, which is going to start at a 0, go to half, go to root 2 over 2, go to root 3 over 2, go to 1, and then it comes all the way back around because it goes back to sine. That is how the curve is formed. So at 0, my sine is 0 because the y is 0. At pi over 2, my sine is 1 because that's what sine is at pi over 2. At pi, it's back down to 0. At 3 pi over 2, it's negative 1. And then I come all the way back around to 2 pi, and it's back to 0. So that's where the parent function of sine is formed, okay? We're going to talk about the period. Which is really like you're eventually going to lead to horizontal stretch and shrink. We're going to talk about vertical shifts. We're going to talk about phase shift, which is a horizontal shift. Like all of that starts though with this initial sine function. So starts at 0, goes up, down, down, up. God bless you. And that's one full cycle. If I reflect it back the other way, this would be 2 periods of your sine curve. So from end to end, this would be 1 period. So in the beginning, obviously, we just did like the last couple sections where you're just identifying the period. That's your overall kind of like an S shape. That's sine. Now cosine is based on the horizontal displacement from the y-axis, meaning the x values. So if I bring back in, my unit circle, and I now focus on my x values, because that's what cosine is. Now if I plot those values, it looks like the curve that's here. At 0, my cosine is 1. At pi over 2, my cosine is 0. At pi, it's negative 1. At 3 pi, it's 0. And at 2 pi, it's back up to positive 1. So cosine starts as what we will call the amplitude, but it starts at 1, my general one, goes down and comes back up again. And if it's reflected over the y-axis to get 2 periods, it looks like that. So there's a lot of manipulations we can do on these. If I take this graph and I shift it to the right, pi over 2, I actually end up getting sine. So sometimes there's more than one answer to these, and you have to pay attention to what it says. It might say, what would the cosine equation be for this graph? And I know I need to base it off of this general shape. If it said, what's the sine, then I have to base it off of that. If it just said come up with a sinusoidal one, which we're going to eventually get to, you might have more than one answer. It could be, like this example, could just be cosine, but it could also be sine minus pi over 2 because you're shifting everything. You had a question, Danielle?
Yeah, how do you know when it's a period?
Because it just like before, it starts and stops. You want to get one solid curve. So you want it to come down and come back up again and finish where it would start over again. Yeah. We're going to learn how to do it from the equation, though. Here we go. Amplitude and period. So the amplitude is half the distance between the max and the min values of the function. amplitude. So if I have my max and I have my min, because eventually these are going to be in word problem form, like the tide is going up and coming back down again. The highest it hits is this, the lowest it hits is that. That's your max and your min. If you want to find the amplitude, you're going to do the max minus the min divided by 2. Sometimes it's obviously from a graph, it would be obvious to see it. You could find that middle line and you can count up or down. Okay? Sometimes it's in word problem form and you have to figure out which is your max and which is your min, divide them, or add them, subtract them and divide by 2. The period is the horizontal distance of one complete cycle. This is 2 pi over b, which we're going to get to in a little bit. And from my equation, the amplitude is the absolute value of a. So you're going to get a couple different ways to have to decipher the information. Here's a graph, figure it out. Here's a real world application, figure it out. Here's an equation, figure it out. All 3 of those you'd have to be able to do. All right, multiple periods of the same cycles. So if you look at the top there, that's cosine. We said one period is from here to here, but that continues on in both directions, unending if it's a real cosine curve. Notice on my parent function, the range is -1 to +1. It doesn't get bigger than 1. It doesn't get lower than -1. If there's an amplitude change, that's like having a vertical dilation. That's going to change, okay? If there's a vertical shift up or down, that's going to change. But for your parent function, those are your max and your mins, okay? For sine, same thing. So sine, my initial curve is this, but I could duplicate it as many times as you want to the right, duplicate it as many times as you want to the left. Range is, again, -1 to +1. So my parent function won't get bigger than 1 and it won't get less than -1. And if you think about like where that comes from, sine and cosine can't be bigger than 1 because then you're saying that the opposite side is bigger than the hypotenuse because sine is opposite hypotenuse or adjacent hypotenuse for cosine. All right, example 1 says if the function f is given by f of theta equals sine of theta, describe the concavity and the increasing, decreasing behavior of the given interval. So this is where you got to know the pattern well enough to be able to draw yourself a fresh sine curve. The key points are 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. And those come from your quadrant angles. Same 5 key points would be for cosine as well. My max is 1. My min is -1. And sine starts at 0, goes up to 1, down to 0, down to -1, and back up to 0. And yes, you want to be able to do that from memory. So A is saying, what's the concavity and increasing, decreasing behavior from 0 to 2 pi? So if I look just from 0 to 2 pi, would you say that's concave up or concave down? Concave down. Good. And is it increasing, decreasing? It's increasing. Questions on that one? All right, 3 pi over 2 to 2 pi is this last little segment. Is that concave up or concave down? Good. And increasing or decreasing? Increasing. Example 2 is asking about cosine. So again, from memory, you would want to be able to draw out your cosine curve. Same 5 key points. 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. Cosine starts at the amplitude. So we start at 1, we come down, down, up, up. And now this is where you got to be careful because you got to make these curves. Don't make them straight lines. They're not V's, okay? So it curves here and there. So what's happening from 0 to pi over 2? Concave up or down? Down. Increasing or decreasing? What's happening from 3 pi over 2 to 2 pi? Concave up or down? And increasing or decreasing? Easy stuff, right? All I got to do is memorize that parent function. And like obviously we're going to reuse that sucker like 700 times. So just learn it. Then it speaks AP, right? We are given an angle theta in standard position as shown in the figure. The function g is given by g of theta equals the cosine of x. For the angle x not shown, theta is less than x, which is less than 3 pi over 2. Which of the following is true? And you're comparing the g of theta and the g of x. So start with g of theta is cosine of x. So if this is theta, right, I'm looking for the cosine of theta here. That's what you're comparing by doing g of theta. Which means, am I looking at the x or the y values there? The x values. Then it says x is not on my graph, but it is in between theta and 3 pi over 2. Where's 3 pi over 2? At the bottom. So 3 pi over 2 is here. So then x is actually in here. Right? It's in between theta and 3 pi over 2. So what would be true about the g of theta, which means the cosine of theta, in comparison to g of x, cosine of x? Yeah.
G of theta is bigger or greater?
Why is it bigger?
Because like you can see it's above it in the.
So you're thinking about your x values.
Oh wait, no, yeah, it'd be less. Sorry.
It'd be less than. Good. So anything that's here is going to be smaller on x values, right, than anything that's in this sliver. Because think about it, this is your x, right? The further you move that way, the smaller your x's get. So when you're comparing that cosine to all these values in here, the x value at theta is going to be smaller than the x values, or than the x coordinate, sorry, of angle x. So we're saying g of theta would be less than, I didn't even mean to like write on that one, but that is the right one. G of theta is less than g of x. Nate?
How do we know that's where cosine is?
So they give you theta is this angle. It will be that grayed out angle, which means it ends here. So you're focusing on the cosine of that. This time cosine because it says cosine of x. If that had said sine of x, then you actually would have said that the values of x are less than. Does that make sense? Which I think is the next question. Yeah. Now this one says cosine. It says sine. It says we're given an angle theta in standard position as shown in the figure. Yada, yada, yada. It goes through all the same stuff. The function g is given by the sine of theta, which means we're comparing y values. That's what that tells you. For the angle x not shown is in between theta and 3 pi over 2, which of the following is true? So if my sine value here is what I'm looking at, I'm looking for the y here. And then it's the same angle. It's from theta to 3 pi over 2. So it's this range of values. So what's the relationship between the y here and all these y's?
Larger. Bigger.
Good. The y at theta is going to be bigger than the y's that's on that little swoop because this is, if just physically it's lower than it, right? If you're looking at the y values being top to bottom, the red dot is higher, wait for it, higher than any of the values here, which means the y value is bigger, which means g of theta is greater than g of x.
Why is it higher?
It like physically is higher. Like physically look at your y values. Look at this y value, right? Whatever this y is would be the sine of that red dot. And then all these values are below it. They're physically lower, which would mean the y is lower. Yeah.
So theta is the point and x is like the space in between?
Yep.
Yeah, when would it be?
Theta is the angle, but we use the end of the angle to get the cosine of it. Does that make sense? Okay.
When would it be D? Like the answer D?
If it was unable to determine, so like if maybe your x, some of them were bigger and some of them were less than it. Like if you literally couldn't determine it. If they weren't all less or they weren't all bigger.
Like if it asked you for cosine, but it stopped at pi. It was from
Sure. Yeah. Questions? Okay, last one. It says for the function f of theta equals cosine of theta, what are all the values of the domain where f of theta equals 1? What does that mean?
Is x equal, when is theta equal 1?
You're saying theta is the cosine of it. So when would the cosine equal 1, right? Because we're saying these are, like we can say, if that's that, when is the cosine equal to 1? So either look at your unit circle, picture your unit circle, or look at your 1 period function, or 1 period of your curve. Cosine is what variable, x or y? X. So if I'm using the unit circle, I'm looking at all my x values, right? And if I'm looking at my curve, I'm using all the y values. So you have to figure out which one you're focusing on, okay? So if I use my curve, where does it hit 1? It hits 1 here and here. What were those key points? 0 and 2 pi. If it's easier to picture your unit circle, where is your x 1? Your x is 1 here. And then back around to there. So if it said what on this function, we would include 2 pi. That's the only difference. It's going to happen at 0 and it's going to happen at 2 pi.
The question's asking where cosine is 1.
Well, yeah, because it's saying if the f of theta is cosine, when is f of theta 1? So when is cosine 1?
We would just leave it as that.
Yep. Valeska.
So both of them are the answer?
Correct. And if it was multiple choice, they could even keep going. Like you could extend this. It could be 0, 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, 8 pi, 10 pi, any even multiple. Does that make sense? Because it keeps happening. It's just like a coterminal. Keep going around your circle. It keeps happening. All right, so B says for the function g of theta equals sine of theta, what are all the values of the domain where g of theta equals 1? What is that asking for in regular English? Where is sine 1? And sine is my y value on my unit circle. Or if we know our curve, sine starts here, goes up, and comes back down again. So there's only one time sine is 1 on my standard circle, right? And it's where? Pi over 2. Yep. Questions?